It's a new day. I have tried so hard to find on the internet some kind of self-critique guide or video on critiquing your own work. And it all applies to like painting or digital art or illustration or graphic design. There's nothing for fashion. Like, why is this process being kept secret? I don't know. But I'm at a point in my project where I want to do that. So I'm gonna have to kind of figure it out for myself. So I've written down a few kind of requirements, like statements or questions to ask when I look at each of my my designs in depth. And I'm going to book a session with either Colin or probably email Alan for next week to kind of ask what their thought processes are when they're doing trial reviews or when they're doing critiques and things like that, because that's something that I'm really interested in and I want to be able to have that written down somewhere so that I can use it in the future, because it's all well and good having people to critique your work, which is always great because you get different perspectives, but when you don't have them, you still need to critique your work and you need to learn how to do that and what exactly is the process of doing that. So that's what I'm working on just now. For now, I have a couple of things, kind of guidelines that I want to address in each of my designs. Okay, I'm gonna move over here so I can put stuff on this side of the screen while I'm talking. Right, so the first question I've kind of got down in my self-critique is, think of what you wanted and what you want to achieve with your collection. So this is kind of looking at it as a whole, all of it together. Does it work? Is it balanced? Does it accurately represent what you wanted when you started? And I know that the project does change throughout, but this is kind of an exercise of going back to the brief and going back to where, like, throughout different points in the project where you thought it was going to end, and the kind of original inspiration you had to do this. You need to think of that and think if you are achieving that with what you've designed. So that was kind of the first thing. The next one is, are you happy with it? I know the answer to this already, no, but like, it's more so explaining why you aren't happy with it, going a bit more in depth, like just staring at it for a little while and figuring out what it is about it that you're not happy with. Point 3, does it showcase your abilities best, right? So you do get to a point in a fashion and textile project where you have an idea of what textiles you want to be using and which ones you're going to be scrapping. But because this is for my degree, I do need to have showcased technical ability, but not just technical ability of making textiles. It's also about, does this showcase your design signature? Does this showcase you as a designer? Does it showcase your imagination and the scope of that? Does it show off your capabilities? Because at the end of the day, this is going to get you a degree, and also this is going to be the main bulk of your portfolio for getting a job. So you want to be able to showcase yourself. That's the point. That's the whole point in this. Point number 4, is it objectively good? Or technically good? This kind of jumps off the last one, but like, just look at it as if you're someone else and think, what would people think if I made this and I showcased it to them? Like, would they just be like, what the hell is that? Or would they begin to understand it more? And I realized that some things you do need to look at for a longer time to understand them, but like, the kind of idea that I'm going with is that my collection, you're supposed to look at it and kind of understand what's behind it, and then on closer inspection it just goes deeper and deeper. So that's kind of part of it. Like, I don't want a negative reaction to this because it's my final year collection and I love it. I love my project and I'm really proud of myself for having done this work. And I want to have the best possible outcome for myself, for my work, for showcasing myself, all of this. Because I'm never going to get this opportunity again, which is sad, but like, it's also very exciting. So yeah, that's kind of the criteria that I'm working off just now. And I'm obviously going to ask Alan and Colin and Keith for more kind of criteria to look at it critically. I'm also going to look at the requirements for the actual degree. Now, those, like the grading requirements, we kind of went through them a couple of weeks ago and it was a bit weird, but I'm going to look through the grading requirements again and I'm going to apply them more directly to my collection than to the portfolio, because the grading requirements cover all of it, but at this point in time I'm looking directly at the collection, not at the portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and go through all of my looks and watch some YouTube while I'm doing that, and I will get back to you with a rundown later once I've done that. Alright, here we go. So, it is now 5:30 and I've gone through everything. I've written a bunch of notes for each one, and I'm also going to look at like the collection altogether. We'll start from the start. Look 1. What it kind of covers, what I feel like it covers at the moment, is the trauma recovery, damage repair, technical skills of fashioning and lacing, creative linking and joining and things like that, which are all things that I've been exploring in my project, and all of those are kind of encapsulated in this look. I'm going to start off with, are you happy with it, for the categories. I'm not fully happy with this, mainly because I love the top. I've loved working on it, and I've loved the concept of it, but the skirt and the bottom, the whole bottom half of the look was kind of just a massive rush and afterthought. I'm not happy with it. I don't think it fits the theme of the collection, like the bottom half. Like, it looks alright, but I don't want to hand that in. Does it showcase my abilities? Yeah, because all of the pieces are fully fashioned, and it's like, I've put a lot of effort into working on this. Is it objectively good? The top, yeah. The bottom, absolutely not. Like, all the problems with this look is the bottom. Not a fan. What I wanted to achieve out of this, I think it needs to get across more of like a personal and emotional statement than it does. Like, the look as it is just now is quite hard. It's not very sensitive. Overall, I'm happy with the top, not happy with the bottom, so we're gonna work on that. Okay, look 2 covers more of this like comfort exposure idea, damage and repair, quilting, softness, trauma and recovery, all of these kind of ideas. Out of all of them, I think like look 2 is one of my favorites. I love it so much, because the whole idea for this came from like playing around with my samples and draping my samples and seeing what they would do, and I know exactly how I would make it. Like, I could go ahead and make this right now. Like, I am so utterly happy with this. The only problem I think is the length of the skirt. I would need to do a little contact sheet of different lengths of the skirt, different shapes of skirt and things like that. The top half I think is like the strong point of this look, so I need to figure out if the bottom half is being as successful as I need it to be. Does it showcase my abilities? Well, I know exactly how I would make it already. So, and if I were to make anything, it would be this one, I think. Is it objectively good? It may be a bit simple at the moment, but I'm going to work into it. That's the whole point of this. I think it just needs a little bit more kick. Does it achieve what you wanted to achieve? Yeah, I think it does. It gets both sides of all of the dualities kind of right, I think. Yeah, I think this one does achieve what I want it to achieve in a more sensitive way than the first one did. Look number 3. I don't actually have much to say about look number 3 because I am in a very love-hate relationship with look number 3. I think it's simple. Deciding whether that's a good or a bad thing, a whole other situation, because the textiles do kind of speak for themselves and it's all focused on the cut of the skirt. So I think I would need to twirl it and figure it out from there. It does kind of showcase my abilities and my process with the whole like circular aspect to it. Like the textile for the top is my reclaimed textile, fiddling around with that, so it comes into that whole damage and repair and regeneration aspect. The bottom half is the quilting, so it would be super soft and fluffy and comfortable and warm. I think there's a great simplicity and a great duality in this, but I'm trying to figure out whether it's too simple or if it's not too simple. Look number 4 is a personal favourite of mine. I think it's so dramatic and it's kind of a cooler silhouette. I need to figure out more about the silhouette. I need to play around with the proportion of it, specifically the shorts at the bottom. I need to develop the sleeves a bit more because I'm not sure how they would come together at the bottom, ribbing and things like that. I need to do that. Does it showcase your abilities? I think it does. Like, it's one of my favourite textiles that I've created this year. Yeah, I think I need to balance this out by playing around with the proportion at the bottom. I think it's very now as well, very like in style. I'm really happy with this one. I just think it needs more basis and more consolidation. Look number 5. Look number 5. I like it, but I don't think it fits with the rest of the collection because it is something that was said in my my review was that some of the designs are too sexy, and I think that applies mostly to this one, and it doesn't quite fit. So I would want to figure out if I can still use this design but have something else with it to make it more fitting with the rest of the collection, because it on its own I don't think it does. That's the main one of contention. Look number 6. I really enjoy look number 6. I think it's fun to have one of these like big statement pieces. It is like, it's almost a ball gown, but it's not quite a ball gown, along with the kind of like damaged textile. So I think this one works really well as well. It's along similar lines to look 2 in that it does kind of encapsulate most of what I want, and it does give this like big puffy silhouette and then really close tight stuff. Like I really do enjoy look number 6, and I think it's a good kind of finale piece. I worry that I've oversimplified it because it is just the 2 textiles and a silhouette. This is the problem with looking at things critically, is like you do begin to question everything, and it's good to question everything, but when you start going around in circles, it gets worse and worse and worse. So the next step is to look at them all together as a collection. And I think I've kind of done that already, going through it in general. Look 1 doesn't quite fit because of the bottom half. I think if I used a different bottom half that fit more with this like puffy kind of silhouette style theme, it would work better. So I'm going to work into that. I'm going to do more designs. I'm going to do some contact sheets, and etc. Look 2, I need to, I'm really happy with. I'm just going to play around with the length of the skirt because I'm not quite happy with that. Also the neckline, I think I need to work on a little bit, but it's alright, it's alright. Look 3, we will come to a decision on look 3 at some point in the next few weeks. Because I do like it, but I'm worried it's too simple. That's it, basically. Look 4, I need to play with the proportions a little bit more, make a little bit more sense with the rest of the collection, and work from there. Look 5 is the main problem, I think, personally. Look 5 is the one that doesn't fit, and I need to fix that by possibly either scrapping it and adding a different look, or adding more garments on top of what's already there to create something new. And I think look 6 is a good ending point. I've got some work to do. I do have some work to do, which I'm kind of glad of, because before doing this I didn't really know where to go, because I've handed this in for something, and that kind of like clicks over something in your brain where you're like, okay, it's done, it's finished. But it's not, because I still have a couple of months until my real hand in. So I need to get out of this mindset and quickly get into another mindset of work. Just a little push. And I think taking the time to critically analyse and reflect on your work and how it fits with the rest of your work, and your expectations at the start of the project, having a look back at your own brief, and like what you really wanted to do and whether this is doing it, and critically analysing all of that is really helpful. It's just hard. It is hard. And what you don't see is that I started doing this yesterday. I did it for like an hour, then I quit, then I did other stuff all day. I did PPD stuff, and then I came back to it this morning and I did like an hour, and then I went and had lunch, and then I went to the beach for like 2 hours because I couldn't do it, and then I came back, and then I made a cup of coffee and had a sudden burst of energy to do it. So it's a difficult process because you are examining your work, and because it's such a personal project, because all of the stuff that we design is really personal, it's hard to not see it as a critique of yourself and your work ethic and your entire process. Like, I think that's why it hurts so much when we get critiques from our tutors, is because you put so much work into this. You always do, and you end up designing things that you do love and you do enjoy. And when someone looks at that critically and starts pointing out all the problems with it, it does really hurt. It does kind of hurt. So, and doing that to yourself is not something anyone wants to do. But if you can do it in a consolidated way, and you can separate yourself from the work and just look at it as work for a little bit, I think it works, and it's a really helpful activity to do. So I'm going to take some notes of everything that I just said. I'm going to edit this, and I'm going to get back to work. Yay! I hope this has been helpful. And get designing your collections. Damn it.